Hello everybody. Welcome to Shantae Game Boy 2002. This is the original Shantae game. Here we are because the next episode of the Shantae LP, the HGH Hero LP, is still coming, but it's a little bit delayed. So I thought I would, while we're waiting for scheduling that commentary, we'll check out the first Shantae game a little bit here, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. I played a little bit myself and recorded it, but then the recording was not that great quality wise, and also I went a little bit I couldn't get too far. So I'm not gonna show the entire game, of course. I'm just gonna show a little bit of like what's this game's about, and I took used some footage from HGH Game, their channel. I will link them also in the description. You can check them out. They have nice long plays. And here we are. The game starts very similarly to HGH Hero. With a pirate attack from Shantae's like lighthouse home, and it started out very Game Boy Color-esque. The sound effects of the chip it looks and feels like a Game Boy Color game so much. They're very good at playing here, like no mistakes. This part really has no music. We're gonna skip some parts here and there. The game has mostly the same mechanics as HGH Hero does. You can especially this first level is super similar to the beginning of HGH Hero, like exactly all these pirates coming out of that bomb, and risky boots, of course. Yeah, it's 2002, quite late for a Game Boy Color game, because I think the Game Boy Advance came out around that time. If not 2002, then yeah, I think 2000. Even the Game Boy Advance might have already been out already. Yeah, but still a little bit late, but no matter. The story, like I guess the story similar to the other Shantae games, and that Risky Boots is up to bad stuff. Stop her. Yeah, even in the Game Boy game, this game has some decent dialogue. But it's more structured like a Zelda game. We will see that a little bit later. But for now, this is the first level that's an attack on the, like, what's the town called again? Scuttle Town. So that's where we are now. This song, if you recognize it, that is indeed same song that they remastered in HGH Hero. As for mechanics of the game, well, it's pretty similar. You can run though, but yeah, you jump really high, and you can whip your hair. But the hair whip is, I played it. It's a Game Boy game is already hard to control, and there's only a couple of buttons, so it's hard to execute. But like the hair whip is actually, the range is really bad. It's really bad. It's kind of hard to hit stuff with it, especially without getting hit yourself, because you have to get so close to the enemies. But HGH Game here, they play quite well, quite expertly and quite fast. So here too, the level transitions into the fire part, just like in HGH Hero. Like I think like the first level is a homage to the first level here. So that's pretty cool to see. Like it's just like almost one for one a reimagining of the first game that they did in HGH Hero. It's cool. Of course, some of the platforming is different, but that's about it. As you can see, that there's lives, so like it's a much harder game. course, like if you're live, like there's very little saves, and you collect gems also with for shop later, and also we go into the night here, also just like in the first level of Shantae HG Hero, but this game actually has a day-night cycle, a day-night mechanic. This Game Boy Color game. The entire game really, like, you transition to day and night based on the timer pretty much, so that's kind of cool. Something that the modern game did not have, but also not this huge important thing, but still it's cool. And here we meet a old familiar, or the first familiar, a new familiar. It's Mimic. Yeah, Tinkerbell stole one of his contraptions. Sound familiar. We don't have to worry too much about the story. I will not like show all the dialogue because the text is kind of slow and there's sometimes a lot of it. So we'll skip a little bit here. Here we go. As we go back to go through the level, it becomes day again, and we get to the ship, where we will find Risky and like a boss. So aside from like this, the first level is a little bit different. It's different from the rest of the structure of the game. The first level is just a level, but then later it becomes an open world game, which is really neat and different. But we'll see soon. Quite expressive. Both Shantae and Risky here. It's well done for the time. Well, for the system. But I mean, in 2002, of course, people did crazy stuff. But for a Game Boy Color. Spank this one extra hard for mommy. Okay, so maybe the dialogue wasn't, or maybe it was up to par, but oof. So you kind of got the first boss. No Putut, unfortunately, but still a cannon on the ship. So similar anyway. Yeah, like you can stand here totally, and like nothing can hit you. So that's great. But then you have to move a little bit back, otherwise you get hit by the goons running, the pirates running out, and then you can hit the bomb into the second phase. And this part, like, it's a little bit similar to like, oh, which game is it? Like, I think it kind of reminds me of the oh, what's that Super Nintendo game? Yeah, it just or maybe it reminds me of like just a different game, but like the Goof Troop game on SNES. One of the bosses there reminds me of the throwing the barrels thing. Anyway, doesn't matter. Good game though, Goof Troop. We didn't show like the menu yet, but there are dances. As we complete the level, there are dances. You can already start dancing, but it's the beginning of the game, just like in HG Hero, you have nothing unlocked, so you can't transform or really do any dance yet. The mayor here. The mayor, in contrast to HG Heroes, is being really nice and not firing her for the pirate attack. I guess because in HG Hero it happened a second, third, fourth time. Yeah. Then we will skip a little bit more dialogue here from Mimic. That's not too important. And then we are in town, and it has like, you remember it's a circle town, and they will not show off everything here, but there is, you can run in the multiple towns in this game. There's a lot of circling that you can do into the item shop and the fountain and the save room and all that stuff. So it is circular, which is pretty cool. And it looks pretty neat for a Game of Color also. So now we're in the open world, and this is where this game kind of becomes like Castlevania 2 or Castlevania or Zelda 2. It super becomes similar to those games where there's like this huge open world with like really long places. Long places. I mean, like just really huge areas with like not much in them. You're just traversing. You can pick power-ups up too, like heart holders to increase. So there's a lot less Metroidvania, a lot less that, and more old Castlevania style. Like, you know, like it's a horrible night to have a curse, and then it turns night, like exactly here. It wouldn't surprise me if Castlevania was a huge inspiration for Shantae in general because of the hair whip, you know, the whip in Castlevania, and then the structure of the game from 2, and then later 2 more like Symphony of the Night style item unlocking and all that stuff, and barriers in the newer Shantae games. So I cut a lot of it out, but although they do play really fast and expertly here, but there's, to be honest, the traversal takes forever. It feels so aimless. You kind of have to find. They give you an objective to find a water town, which they do find here, and so it's another town, like also like Castlevania 2, right? There's a bunch of towns to visit. They all have these areas, like the save room here, and the save grandpa actually talks. Save Santa actually talks here. So he's been around for a while. Yeah, the structure is a little bit weird, and it's not like it's a super long game if you know what you're doing, but if you don't know what you're doing, like there's a lot to explore and a lot of places you can go, and the game doesn't really stop you. But it's so easy to get lost and kind of hard to avoid all the damage and stuff. So this is Bolo. Like, it looks a little bit different, but he is here as well. Most of the characters of Shantae Half Genie Hero are in this first game. He's basically saying, come meet me here at the dungeon entrance. Oh yes, dungeon entrance indeed, because just like Zelda, this game has dungeons. So that's, yeah. It's like a different structure, like open world, like finding towns and finding dungeons. So there's a lot more exploration, and that's, I think that's cool. Though, to be honest, like, I mean, if it was modernized, I think it would be cool to have another Shantae game like that. However, in this game, I didn't. Yeah, it hasn't aged that well. It's not as enjoyable, and it's not as tightly packed and framed and fun as like Half Genie Hero, the modern Shantae games are, because you're not just aimlessly wandering around, finding and then not really finding much. You're just going through a tightly curated level, which I like. Ta-ta, she says again. Yeah, so now we're in a dungeon, and in this place, well, it's like a whole bunch to explore. It has a boss, it has like keys to collect, it has items to collect. Like each dungeon has a transformation to unlock, so like it's that kind of structure. And puzzles to solve even. because there's barely any puzzles in Shantae Game Hero. There's some puzzles here. Yeah, like finding a key, you know. Really that Zelda kind of thing. Yeah, room to room. Well, a lot harder for sure, this game is. A little bit to my dismay. Because it was hard to play up to this point, to be honest. Yeah, you can find some things like a warp squid that will warp you around the world if you find like 4 of them or something. The run is pretty cool though, you can really move. But you know, the Game Boy only has 2 buttons, so like doing like a bunch of combination attacks and like magic and stuff, which you can buy. Magic too, like it's a little bit hard. Only having 2 buttons to use to do pretty much any action in the game is tougher than it sounds. Or as tough as it sounds, maybe. Yeah, like we're not showing off that much more. The only thing I still want to show off of this game is the dances, the transformations, because that's a very important part of Shantae in general. But it takes a while to get here until you get your first dance. So you find these other genies here trapped, and you save them. And then, for our kindness, we will get taught a magical dance. So neatly, like, what is different is like actually you have to do dance moves. You have to do, as you can see here, available dances. It's very brief, but what you can see there is you have to do a combination of dances to transform. But also what you could see is some very familiar transformations, right? Yeah, all those transformations are in Shantae Game Hero 2. So we do a down dance and a right dance, and then we transform into a monkey. A little bit different, but the monkey is same. Like, it looks the same, except it's not purple, and it still jumps really high, it still runs really fast, it's still really small. Yeah, it's the same functionality, and the elephant is there too, the spider is there too, and one more that we haven't gotten to yet in the main story, but that's the last dance we will unlock. So the very last thing I will show off is a few more familiar characters, just so that they're also there, like Sky here. She's also in the game, in the Oasis town that you find later. Then you unlock the elephant dance, and you just continue all the way through the game. Also, Roddy is there later on, so you can kind of see them. Yeah, overall, I think it's a neat game, and it does some cool stuff, but it hasn't. For me to play it, having never played it, it's a little bit exhausting. It's a little bit hard. And this part of my recording, colors are too washed out, so I thought I can't use this footage. But anyway, that'll be it, and soon we will get to the next episode of 5.2 of Shantae Game Hero. See you then. Bye bye.